In today's video, we're going to make a scrap fabric basket. It's an easy scrap buster project. Grab your gear and let's do it. First off, you're going to need batting or felt or something to make it nice and puffy. The batting that I'm using is going to be a 10 by 10 inch square just because that's what size I got. Now, if you wanted a bigger basket, you can make it larger. Just make your proportions bigger. I've got all different shapes and sizes of scraps because I do a lot of different projects. In this particular project, we're going to be using some of the bigger ones. Now I'm just picking out some of my fabric scraps. Kind of got a random handful. I didn't really color coordinate them. Also in my pile of scraps, I found some random orphan blocks from way back when I thought that I was going to be making another quilt. And you just want to gather those together. It might be helpful to iron these. Luckily, I had ironed these previously, so they're pretty flat. But now what you're going to do is you're just going to pick some scraps out of your pile and you're just going to attach them to your batting. Now you could actually connect these together before you put them on the batting, but I like the security of just going ahead and just sewing them right onto the batting. Now I got this tool at a thrift store. I believe it's used for wallpaper, but I like to use it for seams as well. I got it for 50 cents, so I thought that was a pretty good deal. But yeah, I'm just going to add random scraps to this batting. And I really like the random look. I've not really a super fan of getting everything all color coordinated. On some projects I do, but this one I just like the random look. We're using one of those orphan blocks on this one, and we're just gonna attach it right there to the batting. Now you want to make sure that all of the parts of your batting are covered. I had a small little area right here on the corner that I needed to cover up, and now I've got everything squared away, and I'm just gonna get everything squared up to the batting. Now, once you do the one side, yeah, this flap just wanted to act a little crazy, but it's okay. Once you do one side, you want to do the exact same thing on another piece. Now, once you've got your two sides for your basket prepared, you want to get two pieces of lining that are the exact same size. I've had this cat fabric for so long. I've been saving it for just the appropriate project, and this one seemed pretty good. Now, once you've got your lining and you've got your two sides ready to go, you're going to put both of them right sides together. And we're going to do a stitch on three sides. Same process on your outer fabric as well. Now, once you have your three sides stitched together, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make the bottoms of both of these boxy. So we're going to cut a 2-inch by 2-inch square on both the outer layers and the lining. And this is what's going to give your fabric basket its shape. Now, if you wanted a more flatter bottom on here, you can make this square larger, but I tend to just go with the 2 by 2 inch. It seems to work out pretty well. I use this on baskets and for tote bags. But yeah, once you get that cut, you're just going to go ahead, and it's kind of hard to see, but you're going to go ahead and sew that right there, that little seam right there. You're going to have 4 of those, 2 on the outer and 2 on the lining. And like I said, that's what's going to give you that boxy kind of look. Now, fun story, when I was doing mine, I got to one side of the lining and one side of the outside, and my needle just decided to break. I guess it was tired, so it decided to just say, hey, good night. So once I got everything else kind of, changed and everything, we got back to work and finished boxing our corners. So this is what it's going to look like on the outer and on the inner pieces. Now once you've got your boxed bottoms squared away on the outer and the inner fabric, you're going to take your outer fabric and you're going to turn it with the pretty side up looking at you on the outside, just like this. And you're going to have the lining the exact opposite because you're going to tuck it inside. Now, before I did the binding piece that's going to cover those raw edges, I went ahead and stitched those together just to make things easier. So I had some scraps of store-bought binding, but they were too thick, so I actually just made some with one of my scraps. This was a thin piece that I just had in my stash, and I thought that it would work out. So I just measured how long that opening is and made sure that it was going to accommodate that raw edge. And here I am, I'm taking that piece and I'm folding the raw edges to the inside to make sure that there's nothing showing. And I'm using that handy tool that I'm going to be using a lot moving forward in my videos because I just don't use my iron enough. But here I am putting that binding on the edge. You want to just carefully make sure that you're getting everything covered up. When you get back to the end where you started, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to fold over that end part and make sure that there are no raw edges showing. Now on the piece of scrap that I had, it was just a little too long, so I trimmed it down and then did the fold over. Now this is something that you can do before you start putting everything on your basket. Again, my order of operations is a little chaotic, and that is just that's just how I roll sometimes. But you know what? It's effective and it works. And that's all that matters. But now you're going to go back and you're going to stitch all the way around. I actually ended up doing a 3/8 seam on this just to make sure that everything was secure. And contrary to the speed of this video, I did actually take my time, and it was actually not a slow process. I did want to make sure that everything was covered up and that there were no raw edges showing. Now at the very end of my binding, I did a couple stitches just to make sure that everything stayed in place. And once you get that completed, then you've got you a nice little fabric basket. And this one is a little bit tall just because of the dimensions, but you can always try one and then adjust as needed. But this is it tall. And then you can fold it down to make it small. And you can hold all sorts of things in there, plenty of room. You can make different sizes. I like to use mine for sewing tools. And yeah, it just has a lot of room for so many different things. You can put your fabric scraps in there if you want and keep them organized. Do whatever you like to do. But easy peasy project that can be completed in no time.